Hi, welcome to Milanya's kitchen. My name is Milanya Isa and today I want to show you how to make shrimp tempura, Japanese style. It's simple. All what you need, some flour, an egg and some iced water, but there is some important technique that you have to follow. I'm gonna tell you all about it as we go, so let's get started. So first I'm gonna show you how to wash the shrimp. So let's go over the sink. What I do, I'm taking the shrimp from the tail and just run it through the water very fast, just like that. Seafood is very delicate. When you work with it, you have to work fast. And when you wash it, you have to wash it fast and don't let it on the water for too long. Just what you need, just quick rinse. And that's it. Now our shrimp is washed. I have to dry it, make sure it's very dry. So I'm just gonna transfer it into a kitchen towel, like that. And I take this blade away. I'm just gonna use another kitchen towel to dry it. Okay, so now you dry your shrimp. And I'm going to show you how to prepare the shrimp for tempura. After you wash it, you have to peel it and devein it. In case if you got a whole shrimp, I just want to tell you what to do first. You take the head and twist like that, and you peel it just like that. And I'm just going to keep the tail on. When I make tempura, I like to leave the tail, this last part, because it's easier to eat. And then the next step, you're gonna devein it. So basically open the back here, and if any black stuff, you take this out. Mine doesn't have any, so you just make sure you do that to all shrimp. Since there's this line, but it's clean. So I'm gonna take this out. Now let me show you how to prepare the shrimp for tempura. So first thing you're gonna do is, you see this curled up. We don't want that. We want to keep it straight. So any shrimp would work. I wouldn't use a very small shrimp though, because when I make the batter, I still want to bite into shrimp. I don't want be too small. So I'm taking small bites, and mine like medium. So I'm gonna do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 cuts, about 5 cuts, and then I'm gonna place it back up here, and I'm just gonna crack my shrimp. Basically what I'm doing here, I'm breaking down the protein to make it look nicer and to cook faster. So that's ready. Okay, let me show you one more time. So it's all dry and deveined. Now I'm gonna go from the bottom here, and I'm just gonna cut it, not all the way, like halfway. And mine's medium. I'm just gonna do 5 cuts, and then I'm gonna flip back, and I'm just gonna press with my finger. You're gonna hear like a crack sound, and that's what you wanna hear. That's expanding your shrimp, and that's gonna make it look nice when it's fried. All right, so do you see how much taller it gets? Like, you see this one from this one, and this are the same size. So that's what we're doing. You have to make sure not just cut it halfway, you have to crack it, because if you cut it halfway, it's still gonna curl with you. You're gonna curl down, and you don't want that. So after preparing the shrimp, now this one is ready to go. I'm just gonna lightly season it with some salt and white pepper, because I'm not just gonna season my flour, just lightly salt and pepper. So I'm gonna go the other side. Some salt And some, I'm using here white pepper, but you can use black one. It's fine. All right, so now I'm gonna put the shrimp aside. It's ready to go. I'm gonna move to the next step. Okay, so let's talk about flour for a second. It's very important to know what kind of flour you need to use for tempura. Tempura, it's supposed to be light and fluffy, so you need less gluten flour, like cake flour or pastry flour. If you decided to use all-purpose flour, make sure to add 2 tablespoons of cornstarch to lighten up the flour. It's 1:1 ratio to make sure that 2 tablespoons of cornstarch included in a cup. So the total flour and cornstarch 1 cup. So here I'm using cake flour. So I'm using 1 cup. Just go in like that. 1 cup of flour, and you sift it once or 2 times. So I did it once. I'm gonna do it 1 more time. That will bring so much air and make the batter light and fluffy, and that's what we want. So I'm gonna sift it 1 more time. Okay, and my flour is ready. After sifting the flour twice, you have to use cold water, icy water. You can put ice in 1 cup, since I'm using 1 cup flour, but I don't want you to keep the ice inside the flour, because I want the total amount of water 1 cup. But if you end up putting the ice, the second batch when you while you're frying, it's gonna get the water gonna get melted, and the tempura, it will be soggy because it's not the right ratio. So instead, I'm gonna put some ice into a container, and I'm gonna keep this here to just stay icy. And I have this 1 cup ice water, and I have my egg. And before you start putting the water into your flour to make the batter, you have to make sure you're completely ready, because at this point you're gonna be frying and you're gonna be moving fast. So while I'm doing this, I'm gonna prepare my pan. You just need you dust your shrimp very lightly. You don't want it to be too much, because if you put too much flour, the result tempura is gonna be doughy from inside, and you don't want that. You can also merge it in the flour. It's your choice. When you're using a big batch, if you're using vegetables and shrimp, or a bigger batch, it's easier to just put it on the board and sprinkle it with some flour. And we're doing this to help the batter here to get glued into the shrimp. All right, so here's my shrimp is ready. Now I'm going to start this. From this point on, I'm going to work fast. And the first thing, before I add the water, I'm gonna get my oil going. And I'm using here 1 cup to 2 cups, depending on how big your frying pan. I want it to be deep oil. So I'm gonna heat this up while I'm making the batter, so everything will be ready. Yeah. So I wanna keep the temperature cold, so I'm gonna keep this batter away from the oil. All right, so what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna crack an egg into my flour. And here is one important technique you need to follow, is to, you crack your egg, is to not over mix your batter. What we're doing here, we're trying to avoid gluten, and the reason we're using ice water slows down the formation of gluten. So all what we're doing here, we're trying not to, think of like if you're making cake, not to overmix. If you got some lumps, that's totally fine. We're not making bread here, so it's okay, get some lumps, but it's not okay to overwork it. And I find it's best to use chopsticks. I know I don't use chopsticks to mix, but that's better than, I would recommend to use chopsticks rather than whisker, because whisker you might end up over mixing. So a good way to do this is to form a shape 4 to 6 times, and that will be plenty. You see the lumps here? That's totally fine. Don't get crazy. That means you're doing it right. One thing to know if you have the right thickness of your flour, is we were gonna take some of the batter and put it in the oil. If it got like a droplet form, that means you have the perfect consistency of the batter. If it gets like all crumbled, that means your batter is very thin and you need to add a little bit more flour. If it got like more clumpy, that means it's too thick. You need to add more liquid to make it right. So you don't want to make it too thick and too runny. One key technique here for the oil, you don't want your oil smoking hot. At the same time, you don't want it to be not hot enough. If it's not hot enough, it's going to the shrimp gonna absorb so much oil and get soggy. But we're looking for here crispy and no soaking oil. What we want here is 340 to 360 Fahrenheit, and that's equivalent to 160 and 170 Celsius. If you have thermometer, you can use that to make it easier for you, but if not, you don't want to put it and all splash. That's what we're gonna do with this. We're gonna give it a taste by just taking some here. So you can go like that with your finger and just add some in the oil. Do you see it's not like crumbs? You can see droplets. That's mean my batter just perfect. So and see it's not like smoking hot. So you don't want your oil be smoking hot. So now I'm going to take my tempura. I have it close here. I have my ice underneath, so it's melting, but it's not melting inside my batter. So the next round it won't get soggy and not as good. So now my oils, it's all flowing up there too, so it means it's good to go. So what I'm gonna do, I'm just gonna take one by one, like that, and gently place it in here and drop it in the oil. But I'm not gonna drop it straight. I'm just gonna gently massage it like that and then drop it. When you do that, it helps the batter stick into the shrimp. So basically, I'm holding it like that and just let it go. So put it, you go like that, a couple of times and just let it go. So all these techniques, guys, gonna end up giving you the perfect result. You just need to follow it exactly like I told you, and you will never buy tempura from outside again. It's so simple and easy, and you don't want to crowd your pan here. So I'm gonna keep my batter away so it doesn't get overheated from the stove. But if you want more batter into your shrimp, I can take some of my batter and just add it to the shrimp as we go. So now I have my heat on high, and I just take a little and just add it to on top of my shrimp. And you don't want it to be dark here, you want it the golden color, so that's what we're looking for. Adding some tempura, just for extra crunchiness and extra crust. That will make it a perfect coating. All right, that's good for me. Just gonna move, separate it. Look at that, guys. The batter is, you can see, very nice and light. Gonna keep it a few more minutes. Shrimp doesn't take long to cook, and the way we prepare it and expand it, make it long, make it cook faster. So once we prepare the batter, it's nice and crispy. I'm just gonna blow it out. And you can also use half the amount. If you're using less shrimp, you can do half a cup of flour and half cup of water. Look at that, guys. My shrimp, it's been there for 5 minutes. Oops. Flashing, be careful. It's just perfect. Look at that. So fluffy. I can see that it's like the air come through it already. So I'm super excited. I'm gonna be making sushi using shrimp tempura. So keep this recipe, guys, because we're gonna need it. So just get rid of the excess oil, and I put it in here. This is something you wanna eat right away. You don't wanna keep for so long. And also a tip, when you start your batter, you don't want something to put aside to do it for later. That's something, like I told you, you want to work fast and do it right away. Here. And usually the second batch turn out better than the first one. So the first, I'm so happy already with the first round, so the second one gonna be even better. See, look guys, if it got stuck to each other like that, just separate them. Just flip, separate them just like that. What I do, I just take them apart. Before you put the batter, just spread them out a bit so they don't stick to each other. But don't panic if that happens. It's easy fix. You just separate them and flip. Okay. So now they are ready to be pulled out the oil, and I'm just so happy with the result. Look at that. That looks so good. It looks even better than what I get in a restaurant. I'm telling you guys. Look at that. Look nice and golden. You don't want to brown it. The oil, when you have the oil on the right temperature, it doesn't brown and just gets so crunchy. So let's blade this and show you how to eat it. So basically, all what you need, just take some. Look at that. Some shrimp. You can use this batter with anything that you can fry. You can use this batter for. You can do it with fish, with vegetables, you name it. It will work. All right, guys. Look at that. Look at that. And here you have it. If the picture doesn't speak for itself, so let me test it and show you. So which one is calling my name? I think this one. So this one you can dip it with any sauce that you like. I would prefer to dip it in bonzu Japanese sauce, but I don't have it. So basically what I did, I just took some soy sauce and I squeezed half of a lime, and that gets you the closest citrusy bonzu flavor. So I just slightly dip and take a bite. Did you hear the crunchiness? The dough is so airy, fluffy. It's not greasy at all. It's just super crispy. Just fried to perfection. Here you go. You can eat this just like that as an appetizer, or next a bowl of rice. You can also eat it with ramen soup. But my favorite way to eat it with, to put it in a sushi roll. You guys stay tuned for sushi roll using tempura. So keep this recipe because you're gonna need it for the sushi roll. If you like this video, please give me thumbs up, share and subscribe. Until next time, stay healthy and cook at home. Bye.